know what I mean? Getting tattoos, stuff like that. There's nothing else to do other than work out. So it was like, it's kind of a given to pass time to work out.
Man, I can imagine like being in prison when you got nothing else to do other than those kind of things. It kind of builds like the inner dog in you that you might be able to carry out in your everyday life now that you're not so confined in prison or just in a confinement per se. Are there some principles that you learned in prison while you were locked up that you take into now that definitely play out for at least a positive for you in your life?
Kind of crazy, yeah. Understanding, respecting personal space. People on the outside don't understand that, especially in this generation. They don't understand the basic excuse me, pardon me, opening the door for people, holding the door for people. It's like a lot of that stuff like it's either life or death if you do wrong in prison. Something that a lot of people don't know in prison, that stealing is a no-no. So say for instance your hat, right? If you happen to leave your hat on the prison yard, your hat will stay right there until you come and pick it up. Because it's an unwritten rule that if you touch that, it's not yours, the entire yard has the green light to beat you up. So there's certain principles that's kind of crazy, that happens in prison that on the outside that, a lot of folks would, get stabbed or something like that in prison based on, moving like that. So, it's just, like common respect, common courtesy, etiquette, I kept.
Wow. That's kind of crazy to me to think that in an area that's stereotypically with people that aren't, what's the word I'm looking for?
Man, they criminals.
Acceptable
to they criminals.
Yeah, they're criminals, but but people that you would label as criminals have more etiquette than people, and more etiquette and respect than people out that aren't criminals. And I think you hit it on the head. I think we're definitely in a generation that doesn't exactly have the fear of repercussion. It's like they say, like, I remember growing up, I couldn't say certain things because otherwise if I did, I'm gonna have to fight my ass off. And the thing is being a short Asian person, people targeted it. So I had to definitely move a certain way to not be a target. And that in of itself has shaped how I treat people. The excuse me's, the oh crap, I didn't mean to step on your foot, the whole 9 yards. But today's day and age, you post anything on Instagram, you see all these keyboard warriors, people. I don't play any video games, but I see all those videos where people just talking mad shit. And it's just like, man, I can't even think of saying half the crap that I hear. So it's interesting that you have an entire generation that just seems like they don't. And I hate to say, like, because I don't know what it's like for you, but I know my dad regularly kind of tells me like, oh, your generation is a bunch of pussies. Not in those exact words, but like your generation's weak, and all of these other people like are, and I hate to say like it's the next generation that says, oh, you guys are weak. Now you guys are weak. But it just feels like there has been a huge fall off between our generation and this next one, and a lot bigger of a fall off than it was from like our father's generation until now. So, man, I for you as a father of 3 young men, and that's another thing I wanted to really bring up. But how do you manage and maneuver through that for raising young men?
I tell them the truth. I think because my parents too, they withheld a lot, although they were direct. But I think we cripple our children, especially men. You got young men, you got to tell them the truth because they could grow up resenting you. If they find out otherwise. I'm just to be transparent, I have a lot of resentment for my parents because there was a lot of stuff that they would hide from me, and I knew as a child something wasn't right. I think parents think that our children they think protecting their innocence is going to help them. But the thing about it is, once they go outside of the door of your house, their innocence is being immediately attacked. Like children these days are open, have access to all kinds of darkness. So how would I, as a father of young men that are going to go out into this world that is trying to get rid of manhood, me not telling them the truth, keeping it real with them? Like I tell my son, hey, fam, like all that old soft stuff, like the world don't care about that. I get on your case, I discipline you because I'm gonna just be real. You a black young man. There's a chance that you can be killed by the police just based on you being black. So I tell my children, I go through this, I teach them, history and stuff like that, how to carry themselves and stuff like that. I have to. I owe it to them. I owe it to the next generation because I'm raising there's 3 young women out there. I'm raising their husband. So I have to. I'm raising someone's father. I'm raising potentially some type form of leadership in whatever lifestyle that they choose to go to. So I have that responsibility in my hands. And a lot of parents probably don't look at it that way. But this is what we're doing. We're training up the next generation. And if we don't do things right from the inside, hey, that world is going to show them real quick.
Yeah.
I need